So we are here in the hydroponic garden, and just to give you a end of June, like a midsummer update, there's some nice peppers there, and we've got quite a few peppers setting on these plants. So this is all cracky hydroponics, just stationary. We lost that one because they were smaller and the fluid went down, which the fluid's got to be filled up again. I filled it up last week with water. Probably going to be time to add fluid. I've got some, I don't know if you can see them down there, cucumbers. There's another decent one right there. Back that one and probably give it another day. But we've been picking and eating cucumbers for a few days. Well, over a week actually. Got my sweet peppers here, Alessia. They're setting fruit, and so they're looking good. These are just little, they're setting fruit. I think these are Advarskis. And these are just starting to set some fruit. They've got a couple on here. I'm not sure what kind those are. That might be a yellow giant, but it's a smaller one. It's not quite as mature. These look like Alessias, and they are nice looking, right? But then over here, we got a couple tomato plants, but we're setting tons of tomatoes. I mean, like all throughout here, and even over down there. So I would say huge success on the tomatoes, hydroponic tomatoes. Cucumbers, again, we've been eating them and they're good, right? They're all good. I didn't notice any taste difference. Now, we haven't had anything from the dirt yet, so it's kind of hard to tell. I want to do side-by-side taste comparisons, and we will when the ones in the dirt start to yield. They haven't yet. Now, a lot of these beds just got weeds in them. I gotta take some of these out. It's been a heat wave here too. I got one zucchini on there. I had another zucchini plant over there. It just totally got eaten by bugs. And this looked really good. This cucumber looked really good this morning. But it's starting to get heat stressed. I gotta put up the tarp, the sunshade. Picked a couple yellow squash off here this morning, and so they looked pretty good. And of course, got my comfrey in the middle. Got some melons over here. I got some melons in the dirt over in the other beds, and they're doing pretty well. The greenhouse, I think it's too hot. I don't know if I'm going to grow in here next year, but I'm getting hot peppers. I don't know, these are Sugar Rush, either red or peach. They'll all start out that color. They won't turn red if they're the reds until they're mature, until they're ripe. I got the Dutch bucket system on this side, and they look healthy, but again, some of those are getting leaf curl on them, but not one piece of fruit set yet. Not sure what's going on with that. Got some other hot peppers. These are all hot peppers in here. All the peppers are hot peppers. But I've got a few. I mean, these weren't doing much really. They just kind of came out and they're not really progressing. This one cuke is progressing well. Kind of looks, I don't know if that's heat stress or what, but not seeing any fruit on that. This squash is looking good. Maybe the start of a little fruit right there. Another one in there, looks like, so that's encouraging. I don't know why they're so much further behind the ones outside. They were all put in the same time. Only thing I can think of is the heat. And shout out to the Scrapman VA, for some gear, trough, and he's just been just been a blessing. Good friend and brother, and I mean 80-90% of the material for this greenhouse came from him. All the poly, the framing, they were bleacher canopies, and these uprights support my trellis system came from him, and all the bleachers that I got came from him as well. And again, like I got them down there, the plates for the bottom, all these frames, these are the same bleacher canopies. I only had 4 left and I needed 8. Well, I was going to make it twice as big. For this size I would have needed 6, but I just spaced them, just had a space in the middle and stretched the tarp over it. But this trough here is also made out of bleachers. That's just the liner over it. And so all the bleachers came from him. And so he's been a blessing, huge blessing, because I'm on a pretty tight budget here, trying to do all this, and I want to expand even more. And he's really been, it's been great, like getting the stuff. It's just been a huge blessing. So just want to give him a shout out. And man, you gotta look at the peppers. Like, I can't even express it, because I was concerned like that it was going to be a little diminished capacity with the hydroponics, but it certainly does not look like it's going to be. And with being away, well, I work in 2.5 days out of state at a camp, and I got 4 hours travel time each way, so another day in travel. So I'm gone half the week. And I topped it up, you know, now that these are getting big, they're going through some fluid. I don't know if you can see in here. This kind of died out. I just set the thing in there, but you can see it floating down there. That's where the water level is. And I added quite a bit last week, but these things are sucking down the fluid. Those pails too, I got to put, I'm running their 4-gallon pails. I'm running about 3 gallons in there, and it's down to a gallon or less. So they're drinking, each one of those plants is drinking about 2 gallons a week. Now, these are pretty thick, right? So a couple things I've learned. I'm going to share the successes and the failures. I don't really consider it a failure because I'm going to make adjustments, and it's not going to fail, but it's just lessons learned, right? I planted these, like you can see, like one there and then one back, and I did that same pattern all the way down. I'm probably going to take out half the plants next year because it just gets too crowded, especially for the tomatoes. The peppers aren't bad, but the tomatoes definitely are too crowded. So next year I'm going to plant less. I want to make some more grow spaces out of these, and so we'll see how that all goes. But yeah, that's the midsummer hydroponics update. The biggest challenge is turning out to be fluid management. So it's going through some fluid now that the plants are getting some size to them. And I should actually show you one of the root balls, because those ones in the bleacher tubs I can't pull out because the hole's not big enough to get the roots through them. But these I can. No, that actually is a little more than a gallon in that one. Well, maybe it didn't quite drink 2 gallons. Maybe it drunk a gallon. That one's a little bit lower. But again, this cracky is proven to be a pretty good method. And it's, no moving parts. It's completely passive. No pumps, nothing. Like I said, that one system in the greenhouse on the left was Dutch buckets. But the crackies really set it and forget it. I add water. I come home every week. I add water to it if it needs it. Water or fluid. They say that, the conventional wisdom from the hydroponic experts that I follow online say that, what does the Bible say, right? There's two in the mouth of two or more witnesses. Truth is established. My words, paraphrasing. But when you get one guy tell you something on YouTube, you take it with a grain of salt. You get two or three saying the same thing, then it's a better bet, right? So the conventional wisdom is that the plant uptakes more nutrient than it does water. So if I keep adding nutrient solution every time the level goes down, in time it will be too heavily concentrated because it's sucking the water out and leaving the. So in other words, like let's say you have those 4-gallon pails, you have so many parts per whatever, however the measurement is teaspoons per 5-gallon jug. I mix it and add it in. So after it drinks it down, if I keep adding nutrient solution, it's using more water than solution, so it gets more concentrated. So over time, it will get too concentrated. So what they do is they once or twice in between every cycle, like you add fluid, it goes down, you add straight water. And then some even add straight water twice. And then on the third cycle, they'll add fluid again. And so I've added water to those twice, so I got to add fluid now. I got to mix the nutrients. But certainly watering it down, which is what I've been doing, hasn't hurt it at all. So anyway, that's just something I'm kind of experimenting with. But I think maybe get away with the smaller containers next year because the fluid management is too much. What I'd like to do is mix up a 275-gallon IBC tote full of fluid and put it in away, and then just fill out of that. I probably could. I'm thinking a couple of those a summer would be more than I would need. Problem is, you got to paint them black or darken them to keep the algae from growing inside. And when you do that, then they get really hot in the sun. So I'm thinking of burying one and then just pulling out of it with a submersible pump. So I got to figure that out for next year. Got some ideas for cooling the solution too. I was going to bring a PEX. I could put it above ground and bring a PEX loop out and coil it up underground in a hole, fill it with dirt. It's a little bit cooler, right? And run the tote fluid through the PEX and then up to where I need it. The wisdom being that would cool the solution a little bit. I don't know if it'll cool it enough because if you get a black tote sitting in the sun, I mean, that water is going to be hot coming out of there. So another thing is trying to get a refrigerator and run a PEX line or a metal line, probably PEX even would do, through there and bring the fluid out of the tote through the refrigerator. And then even if I just cycle it around, put on a thermostat. I don't know. I got a couple ideas. I'm going to have to play with that over the winter and build a system. But I got some ideas. I'm pretty happy with what I've got this year just for doing cracky, passive, set it and forget it. It's working well. And so I'm happy with the way it's working, and I'm going to definitely continue with hydroponics. It's looking more and more like I said I'd like my goal to be, and I think it's going to be, to eliminate growing in the dirt. It's less labor, and there's less pests, and you don't have to make compost and nutrients and dig and till, and the soil's depleted of this nutrient, it needs more calcium, needs more nitrogen, you got to put nitrogen fixers, or I keep saying chemical, but they're not chemical. The nutrient solution, it's more even, right? It's better balance. Less bugs, no tilling, no building compost, no building soil, no digging in the ground. And I think it's like gardening for aging in place, if you want to put it that way. And also for prepping, put back the chemicals, because I know I talked about this before, but in a emergency situation, all you need is chemicals and water in a container that'll hold water, and you can be growing fruit, vegetable right away. So I think I'm learning. I've learned enough in year one to know that I want to concentrate on hydroponics, whatever that looks like. I want to try some different systems and find something that works a little better. The cracky system is okay, and I think I'll always do some cracky. Now, melons, I'm doing watermelons in the dirt. Those might always be in the dirt. I don't know. Although, it's premature to say that, but I will try doing them probably next year. Experiment with a couple in hydroponics. Not sure how that's going to look, but I'm definitely into it. Now, they got to be covered because the rain will dilute the systems unless I'm thinking of making towers out of 55-gallon drums. But I don't know. I got a lot of ideas. Year one, I'm trying to get through this job I'm doing up at the camp. And that's taking most of my summer, 3 days a week. So it's just survival gardening for now. But next year, I'm going to have a better plan, and I'm going to move forward in a more focused direction. But I just wanted to show you what I got, what it's looking like, where we're going with it. Again, shout out to the scrap man. And without him, none of this probably would even be possible. Like, I wouldn't have the greenhouse. I wouldn't have a lot of the materials for the bins. And I've even got he's given me some other stainless steel reservoir bins. And they're just in my pile. They'll be built out this summer or this winter when I figure out what I'm doing in preparation for next winter. I also got a flood table in the basement. I grow lettuces in the winter. So I'm moving forward in a positive direction with hydroponics. And thanks for watching. God bless you.